Luminaries, Kevin Spacey, Jeff Goldblum, Christoph Waltz, a robot, Joe Pesci, Morgan Freeman, Andy Rooney, Harry Belafonte, Robin Williams again, Henry Fonda, and Paul Harvey. So close your eyes, load in those pictures. Here we go. This essay is called, What is in a Human Voice? What is in a human voice?
Why is it so attractive, persuasive, or repellent?
Why do we vividly recall people's voices to our pleasure or our regrets?
How is it possible for an entire personality, a person's essence, to be distilled into sound waves?
There's a whole lot of information going on in a human voice. Computers, no more properly their programmers, are struggling madly to mimic the nuances and subtleties of the voice. To see if you'd like the daylight to be convincingly replicated.
Certainly for mundane travel announcements, where the identity and emotion of the speaker is as neutral as possible, no one objects.
Or maybe they do, but who listens?
And thus in our travels we hear more mechanically produced announcements and directives all the time. It's not very comforting.
But it's cheaper and you don't have to provide bottled water.
But I haven't heard anyone praise the soothing tones of their nerve system voice. Rather the opposite. Recalibrating my ass.
Yeah, even Siri is useful, but wouldn't we rather gladly trade hours of that informative voice for a 10-second clip of our own child? Who would want to live in a world where all spoken communication was digitally authored? Doesn't that seem like a perfectly dreary idea? Who would bother to listen after a while, I wonder?
Just a few of the things that you can tell from the human voice. I believe this is correct, Paul.
The general attitude of the speaker, whether or not the speaker actually believes that what they're saying is 100% true, how they feel about you.
How they feel about the present moment.
Whether or not they want you to listen or not, or how urgently.
The youth or the age of the speaker.
The level of affinity for you. Where in the world they have mainly been spending their time. You know, whether or not they've recently been consuming dairy products. How educated they are, or think they are.
Whether they have a cold.
Or whether they are just learning our language.
The level of sophistication, a lack of it.
Their willingness or their interest.
How kindly they are.
Or how uncaring. Whether they are only pretending to say something, well, really what they're mainly trying to do is warn you without anyone noticing.
All these, and perhaps an infinity of other subtle flavors, make up the rich recipe of ingredients, all organically grown, that add up to a human utterance. So, is there no place for robotic communication?
Of course there is.
But in matters that have human consequences, humanity should take care to choose which of its many voices it will speak to itself with. And never casually turn over the whole conversation to some automatic, non-human entity.
You don't want an automatic, digitized jury foreman to declare you guilty or not guilty, do you?
That being said, let's also have a care that our own human voices remain an expression of ourselves as living beings, not as pale imitations of other beings.
In other words, let's speak from the heart, in our own voice, whatever quality or qualities it may have.
And if someone doesn't like our voice for some reason, well, that's fair enough.
We'll just continue to say what we have to say with all the richness our voice offers. And even let our silences speak.